I don't know exactly what's the third project. And to tell you the truth, among all the others that were present at that donation conference, I think that we were the only one that actually delivered what we promised. If Chamal would like to be absolutely sincere. And I'm proud to say that, because it would be detrimental for both Serbs and Bosniaks. I'm finishing my that introduction with the words that we need each other. Otherwise, we'll face disaster, both Serbs and Bosniaks. And there are no winners. And there should not be humiliated sides in the future. We need to work together. We need to live together. Otherwise, I'm very much afraid of the future of the Western Balkans once again. Thank you very much for having us here.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Prime Minister. I want to thank to my President of Bosnia being here tonight with us. Thank you, sir. And hello to everybody. As I was introduced, I am mayor of this small town that makes a lot of troubles in the world, in the region especially. As I am half American, half Bosnian, Muslim, Bosniak, however you want to call, actually my mission to return from America to Srebrenica was actually to build such a relationship concerning Serbia and Serbs and all other people living in the region of the Balkans. So that's why I'm committed, and that's why I make not really funny steps concerning my people, but they are hard and tough steps to move forward. And we are committed, and I committed my life to that. I could have stayed here and lived great life as most of you do, but I sacrificed because personally I did survive everything, and most of my schoolmates, unfortunately, as President says, I survived by accident and they had no chance to survive. So I wanted, it's just like a, let's say, survivor's guilt that I felt, and I couldn't have done it differently. So when I came to Srebrenica, my intentions were not to be a politician, but sometimes we never know what's our destiny. And I'm now proud that I can represent my people, first of all, people that is European Muslims, civilized European Muslims, committed to live with others in peace. And if we go 100 years back in the Balkans, the history is really tough for all of us, Serbs, Croats, Bosniaks, Muslims, and everybody. And my, let's say, my vision was to actually change the future, let's say 100 years of the history, and I've spoke to Prime Minister many times about that. How about, instead of talking about our past, like my grandfather was killed by somebody's grandfather, or his grandfather was killed by, how about we change the history for the next 100 years that we speak that my grandfather was good in sports with your grandfather or father, and etc. So what I liked about Prime Minister Vučić was that we had the same thoughts. And when you said at the beginning that I invited him, I would have to change that statement and say that we invited him, because this organizational committee numbers 50 people of mothers, survivors, including our political authorities in Sarajevo. We all welcomed him. And that's what our desire was, to actually try and push. I have to mention that also President Tadić, once in the past, in 2010, as a Serbian official, he visited Memorial Center. Back then, as a president of Serbia, Serbian parliament adopted a resolution on Srebrenica. So those are all steps towards reconciliation and better future. And what Prime Minister Vučić, as the most legitimate political figure in Serbia, did in a hard time, it was a tough decision for him, personally, within his political party, maybe within some, let's say, radical national groups. It was a tough step for him to actually come in the middle of 7,000 graves to say, I am sorry in the name of my people. That's why I said he's a brave man. And I repeat that here in front of the whole audience. I think it is brave. Also, for me, maybe it was not a good thing to hug Mr. Vučić in the middle of 7,000 graves as a mayor of Srebrenica and Bosniak survivor of the genocide, but I did because we're both brave. And some of my people, Bosniak people, did maybe, let's say, criticize me afterwards, and I had a really tough time, but I said that they don't know. And all people in the Balkans that think that peace has alternative, they don't know. If you just ask ordinary person in let's say in any town in Serbia and Bosnia, are you to kill each other again? Everybody would say no. But if you say, are you to reconciliate? They will not shake hands. Well, we have no alternative. If we want to reconciliate and build a better future, then we have to hug, shake hands, and be friends. So this is a little bit about me, and I think that besides good things that Prime Minister, well, afterwards, after July 11th last year, just because I was criticized, I invited him again to come to Srebrenica, but for the different event. And then all of the political leaders from Bosnia, including position, opposition, Bosniak Serbs and Croats, they all came there. We all gathered together in this small town, powerful town that sent a message that actually gave us a hope that there will be a better future. And we've sent it from Srebrenica, the town where genocide was committed, all these crimes and all, let's say, hard past for us. We want to be an example for, let's say, for the region. We want such relationship between Serbia and Bosnia and Herzegovina, not only with the town of Srebrenica, because we all need that. We want it to be an example. And still, we are here to offer our experience to move things forward. And besides concrete, let's say, business investments, economical development, we need social integrations. We need to bring people together, not only politicians. And I think that people sitting here in this room, including my president, Prime Minister Vučić, we need to do things to, let's say, social integration of the people, not the politicians. Thank you.
Let me set the stage for the next question I want to ask them. I've been involved in my life in many peace processes. Some have succeeded, others have not. But even the effort always reduced violence and increased possibility. In the 7 years we worked toward peace in the Middle East when I was president, in the end, we didn't get it, but the fatality rate was, on an annual basis, among Israelis and Palestinians, was 1/6 of what it was in the next 4 years after they abandoned the peace process. So this is really important, making this. Now, in every peace setting, one of the things that the parties have to do is to decide how much acknowledgement should be embraced, how much accountability, how much to dwell in the past. I've heard President Kagame of Rwanda, keep in mind 10% of the whole country was killed in 90 days there. And I've heard him say, in only a half-joking way, that maybe they were blessed to be so poor at the time because they had no prison system. So they immediately agreed, everybody did, that only the most severe abuses should go before an international criminal court, and everybody else should have community-based justice, including community service. I saw things inside a decade after that horrible episode of people working together I never would have dreamed. But where the forces are evenly divided, it's harder. For example, in Kosovo, near there, which is pretty much 90% Albanian Muslim and 10% Serbian Orthodox Christian, the government created a few years ago when I was there 3 new townships so the Serbs could have 3 more mayors because they wanted people to feel at home, representative, and control of their own destiny. I think today, particularly, we have to acknowledge that they will have to work out all the details of how to handle the past. But they cannot create a future or make this government function in Bosnia as it should without outside help. And the forces within Serbia who are brave enough to stand up for a shared future like him, they need help too. So they alluded to that. So I'd like to give them both the chance to say, if you could give us a to-do list, we, the rest of the world, what would help you most? Both big things and little things. What kinds of people coming there could help you most? What kinds of involvement of all the things you face? If you took the chances you did, we ought to do more to help you. So, in however you want to do it, tell us what you need the most.
Just thank you for your remarks, and wanted to thank to Chamil on his sincere words, and to add only 3 things. Chamil was mentioning 100 years long history of our clashes and fights in the Western Balkans. And he is right, from the First, Second Balkan Wars, then the First World War. And there is something that you should know, because when we speak about Srebrenica, and not only Srebrenica, about that entire region close to River Drina, actually Serbs and Bosniaks, we didn't exchange any single POW during those 100 years. We used to exchange only dead bodies, only corpse. Not a single POW. It's a terrible hatred that was spread among all of us, and I'm very much afraid there is a very fertile ground for that in the future. I'm not that optimistic, sorry to say that, but I can only say to you what I said to my people, and then I'm going to refer once again to that lose-lose situation for me. At least I'll do my best as a Prime Minister. Today we do have a full legitimacy that we got from our people. But still, it's not all up to us. But we'll do our best to secure the peace and stability, which is very important for an entire world, not only for that part of Europe. Also wanted to say that it was not easy for me to come here because it was highly criticized weeks and days before I went to US, because the President Clinton was organizing this very important event to me. And you know that he was the President of the United States during that NATO bombardment in 1999. And all people of Serbia would say, well, why are you going there? No, I said to them, but you need to speak to someone. They want us to have US as an opponent or as an enemies once again, or what? We need to speak to all the people. And I can tell you, and you should believe me, today in Bosnia you have 2 different thinking, 2 different approaches. One is among the Bosniaks, which is, okay, we have 1.7, 1.8 million of Bosniaks, and there are 1.2 million of Serbs. We are stronger than Serbs. We can kick their asses out, and that's something you're going to hear every single day. If you go to the Serb places, you're going to hear every single day, okay, well, yes, there are 1.2 million of us, 1.8 million of Bosniaks, but there are 7, 8 million of Serbs in Serbia. We are stronger than them. We can beat them once again. And that's That's something that brings us to the terrible position in which you cannot explain anything to anybody. And this is the reality. Sorry to say that. This is the reality. And that's why I was insisting to make as many as it is possible meetings, arrangements, agreements, whatever we needed with Bosniak side. I do advocate very firmly conversation, talks between Serbs and Bosniaks, because we can't survive without each other. We'll have to live together, not beside each other. We'll have to live together in 100 years, in 200 years. And that's what I'm saying, not here in New York. That's what I'm saying in Belgrade, not in Sarajevo, where people would like to hear it. I'm saying that in Belgrade. I'm saying that to my constituency, which might not like it always. But I firmly believe in that. And people have to understand that. If we choose some different future, there won't be any future for Serbs and Bosniaks. And I'm pretty much aware of that, and that's why I always condemn all the stupid statements, which I gave plenty of them 20 and 25 and 30 years ago, but not in the last 5 years. I'm just an ordinary man, not better than all the others. I'm not a Superman that didn't make any mistakes. I hate those people that would always say that they didn't make any mistakes. I did them a lot, and not ashamed to say that. Yes. But just wanted to say many thanks to the organizers, many thanks to Chamil, and I'm grateful that Bakir is here, and see that Zlatko is here as well, and always be profoundly grateful to make my contribution to preserve the peace in the Balkans. Thank you once again.
Well, first of all, we have to understand the reconciliation word in the Balkans. Some people think, like 21 years ago, we were killing each other massively, as the Prime Minister says, that no POWs. So 21 years after, we have to give ourselves some credits for, let's say, Srebrenica, a town where today we have multi-ethnic society, people living together, no single case of revenge after everything. So we are on a good way, naturally speaking, because we didn't go through some certain special projects to reconciliate. People of the Balkans, this is on the question, what can you do to help us? Naturally, they know how to reconciliate, but sometimes politics or the larger, broader audience do not understand that the reconciliation is a process. It's not a one-time handshake. It's not a one event. It's not one dinner, but it's a process that will last longer than we maybe live. The major point of everything is that we are committed never to stop on that process. So we're just being a part of that process, and I hope that our future generations would have an easier task. Sometimes we cannot solve all of the problems in our lifespan, but I think that we are obligated to build a better fundaments for the future generations that come. And there, you can all help us. I mean, especially United States as the country who actually was involved directly in peace in Bosnia and all other things. Like, many people don't know how many influence like you as a president had and on people's lives in Srebrenica, for example, after in 1997, if I remember, in Lyon, G7 meeting, when you initiated ICMP, a commission, which was a commission for finding and missing persons, and those are things that helped lives of people, but they're not published much. And I know that the refocus of Washington to the Balkans is a next mandate, when I hope that you will be a husband of a future president of this country. I have to be honest. And I vote too. And I vote too if it means to you as an American citizen, and I will. So I hope that that refocus of Washington to our country, and you are familiar with the region, and you know we don't even have to tell
Which
you.
means that Americans are ruling Srebrenica.
And I know that encouragement, we're there. We show that we are ready to move forward, and I hope, and I know if you promise us, it will happen. Thank you.
Well, thank you. One of the things I wish you could have all seen, and I want to tell President Izetbegovic so we can take this home, but I actually went to a meeting when I was there for the 20th anniversary of the Bosnian presidency. And as I said, it's sort of a cumbersome thing. You have a Serb, a Croatian, and a Bosniak Muslim, and they rotate the presidency. And I've been keeping up with this ever since I left. I think this is the best panel we've ever had, the presidency, and they were talking together, working together. Look, America has a very substantial Serbian community. We should be supporting the Prime Minister and the Serbs in Bosnia. We have a very substantial Croatian community, mostly in Cleveland, but around. And we got, as you see, a mayor who can vote in both places. And there's a lot of sympathy and empathy for the Bosnians and what they went through even 20 years ago. I think it's important that in an organized way we help them. The American government has tried, I must say, through Republicans and Democrats on a bipartisan basis to be a friend of this peace process, to be a friend to the persistence and the survival of the state, but we have not done enough to help the Friends of Peace triumph. The people, when they take the kind of risks they're taking, I will say again, they're political risks, but they're personal too. They deserve our support. In my home, I have two beautiful, highly unique samples of large rocks that came out of Bosnia, which is one of the most geologically interesting places on earth. And when your father was the leader of your people and they had no money, all they could do is give these unbelievably gorgeous rocks to people who were trying to be friends with them. I have two, that it's inconceivable that these things were actually dug out of the ground in the form they're in. And it reminds me every day that there is human and material wealth everywhere, and not organized investment and organized support across political and personal lines. So I will just say this, we have others here from around, one of my friends from Montenegro is over there. We've got people all over, but America has people from all three of these communities. And we have people who care. And it's not for us to resolve the details. He's got a real headache now with a referendum about whether a Serbian national holiday should be on a day that is recognized as important, not even by the Croatian Catholics, but only by the Orthodox Christians. And does this mean sort of a statement of opposition to the Bosniak Muslims and the others? There's 1,000 issues like this. It's not up for you and I to resolve this. It's up to you and I to create the conditions insofar as we can to support them to keep going. I've been in these long drawn-out peace processes when nobody ever thought it could happen, and I've been in them when they broke apart. A long, boring, drawn-out peace process is way better than when it breaks apart. And I can't tell you, maybe it's because I lived through all this 20 years ago. But when I looked at that crowd in that dark factory building where all that killing occurred, and I saw that man sitting bravely there, and then I heard the mayor tell his story. This is a long way from people wandering in the woods with rifles looking for people to kill, as if it were hunting season, to two young people who have more tomorrows than yesterdays, trying to create a shared future. And look at all the fighting that's going on everywhere in America today. I mean, everywhere in the world today, all this division. And here you got a place where they tried it, and they know peace works better than war. And in a troubled world, we need to hear their message everywhere. And they need to survive giving it and to thrive. So I ask you all to support them and help them. Let's give them a hand.
Ladies and gentlemen, the plenary session is now concluded. Your next sessions will begin at 4 p.m. in your respective meeting rooms. Thank you.
Man, the 45th President of the United States of America, when we advance the policies of rebuilding our military, reviving our economy through the time-honored principles of growth, to appointments to our court that support our Constitution, restoring law and order to all the communities of this country, and to upholding the highest standard of integrity in the highest office in the land. That President and the people of this country will make America great again. So thank you very much. Thank you for your service, and God bless you. We're just so grateful you're here today. Enjoyed it immensely. And very informative, by the way.
Thank you very much. I hope we're focusing on the Philadelphia side. I'm a native Pennsylvania, Oregon grad as well. He's going to be my 4 months. Anything I can do in Pennsylvania. Go around there. Good. The campaign guys, Hope knows that Brian always has. I'll tell you. I already did
My electronic supply office 100 years ago. No.